All right, guys, we got to talk about nature and the way of the world and public lands and how it's all tied together through politics, which is something that as I got into my hunting career, I didn't really understand. But I heard Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s interview with Tucker Carlson, and he spoke about nature and the need to defend it in a way I've never heard before. And I wanted to share this with all of you because I find it to be extremely important. I always, earlier in my life, viewed things very black and white. So, like, I vote Second Amendment above public lands, even though I'm a user of public lands, an owner of public lands, and I love the idea of being able to hunt on public lands. But if it was choosing one versus the other, I know where I'd vote. Now, when I had a podcast with Randy Newberg this last spring, I think in the month of April, we talked about it being an and life, not an or life. It's not for us to then just get caught up in black or white, this or that. It can be this and that. And so in the interview that Robert Kennedy Jr. Talked about, he talked about the Democratic Party and how they view nature and how they used to be like a defender of nature. And now everything's been boiled down to a carbon footprint in which everything's measured on that and nothing else matters. He said they're missing the boat on that because nature, the importance of nature is not to protect it so that we can then make more money in other ways. And he brought up the wind farms that are out on the ocean that are killing whales. And he goes, I got into defending nature and wildlife specifically because of whales. And he goes, but now because green energy is forcing, is less carbon footprint, or however you want to say it, or if that's even true, I don't know. He goes, but now it's hurting whales. So everything's based off a carbon footprint rather than the actual impact on nature. And he said the reason why nature is so important to protect and defend is because that's where God is. And where God is, that means that's a way for us to connect with him. He goes, whatever religion in the world you follow, whether it's Jesus 40 days in the wilderness, Muhammad going out into the wilderness, Buddha going out into nature, sitting under a tree, like whatever it is, all these spiritual happenings happened in nature. And that's where you can find God. And so why do we want to defend nature? Is because defending nature is defending our ability to connect with God, or at least one of the ways in which we can connect with God. I thought that was very, very interesting. It really challenged me on how I view things. And so I wanted to share this with all of you and get your thoughts as well. Obviously, it took some chewing on. And so, you know, instead of instantly shutting down and being like, I don't want to talk about it because anger covers fear or hurt, we get to address and have a real deep understanding of why we protect nature and how that ties in with conservation and making sure there's wildlife lasting for generations to come, and an abundance of wildlife, so that we as hunters can take the excess, right? And why it's so important to get in the fight and see this fight all the way through on the finish line when it comes to the cat ballot box biology issue in Colorado. So these are some of the things I've been chewing on. I wanted to share with all of you. I'd love to hear what you guys think and everything. So drop them in the comments, send me a DM, connect with me on my website, soulseekersnation.com. But anyways, you know, you got to sharpen yourself. Sometimes that means making yourself feel uncomfortable or going through uncomfortable things to get to the other side or get to the edge and the sharpness that you want. Be blessed. Remember, hunting has the power to transform lives through primal adventure, and that you can never outgive good, as mentorship is conservation. I'm Johnny Mack with Soul Seekers. Be blessed, everybody. Stay soulful.